Let me tell you, what Trevor Noah did wasn't just another comedy skit, it was a full-blown cultural earthquake. This wasn't Trevor stepping out with a couple of cheeky royal jokes to make the audience giggle. No. He walked out there like a surgeon with a scalpel, flashing that sly grin. And in under 10 minutes, he cut Meghan Markle's carefully polished public image into pieces. Live, raw, no script, no mercy. The crowd, oh, they knew instantly this wasn't going to be some lighthearted roast. Their laughter wasn't the usual easy kind. It was that nervous, guilty chuckle you let out when someone finally says the thing everyone else has been secretly whispering for years. That laugh, it carried weight. It said, "Finally, someone dared to say it out loud." And poor Meghan, she had spent years building that misunderstood Duchess brand. The victim of the evil monarchy, the brave voice of modern change. The woman silenced, yet somehow always on camera. She wanted us to see her as this icon of resilience. But Trevor, oh, he stripped all that glitter away. What he left behind was an uncomfortable contradiction. Someone wrapped in designer empathy, claiming she wanted privacy while signing Netflix deals, claiming she wanted normalcy while giving Oprah exclusives, claiming she was silenced while launching podcasts. And here's where Trevor really shook the table. He didn't even start with the easy shots. He went straight for the jugular, the race card. Now that's the line no late-night comedian dares to cross. But Trevor, he's South African. He grew up under apartheid. That gave him a credibility shield no one could question. He called out the way Meghan wielded her background, sometimes as a weapon, sometimes as armor, depending on the crowd and the headline, and the audience, oh, they couldn't ignore it anymore. The brilliance? He didn't shout. He didn't rant. He just spoke with calm precision, letting every pause slice through the air. And that's what made it brutal. Because the truth delivered softly, that cuts the deepest. And don't think Prince Harry escaped unscathed. Oh no, Trevor dragged him too. He compared Harry's post-royal career to a washed-up Hollywood extra, desperate for voiceover gigs. And the sting? People remembered. They remembered that clip of Harry awkwardly pitching Meghan to a Disney exec. That wasn't parody, that wasn't satire, that actually happened. Trevor just held up the mirror, and the reflection was devastating. And then, like dominoes, the rest fell. Trevor may have fired the first shot, but the comedy world smelled blood in the water. Suddenly, every late-night host, every stand-up comedian, every podcaster wanted a piece of the Meghan-Harry spectacle. Saturday Night Live? They didn't just poke fun, they dedicated entire sketches. Conan O'Brien? Oh, he joked about where their wax figures would end up now that they'd been yanked out of the royal display. Spoiler, not Westminster Abbey. Joe Rogan? He didn't just tease Harry, he turned his grievances into a running gag. Even Nikki Glaser piled on, taking digs not just at Meghan's fame but her acting career, or as Nikki put it, the lack of one. At this point, it wasn't just roasting anymore. It was a full rewrite of the Meghan-Harry brand. The comedians weren't just making jokes, they were rewriting the public narrative one punchline at a time. And oh, the internet? They took the baton and sprinted with it. Trevor cracked the door open, but social media kicked it wide and ran a parade through it. TikToks, memes, YouTube parodies, it was endless. Every scroll was another jab, another reminder that Meghan and Harry had gone from being royal rebels to California influencers with a side of cringe. The internet doesn't just roast, it dissects. They clipped every interview, slowed down every eye roll, zoomed in on every awkward pause. The tiniest details became meme gold, like that one moment from the Netflix docuseries where Meghan corrected Mindy Kaling on how to pronounce her name. Small, right? But the internet blew it up, slowed it down, captioned it, re-looped it. That micro moment became the ultimate symbol of Meghan's performative correction energy. Suddenly, Meghan wasn't seen as relatable anymore. She was that girl, the one who corrects you at brunch with a smug smile, then posts a just being real caption on Instagram. And from there, the spiral was unstoppable. Creators mocked her lifestyle brand energy, lavish kitchens, champagne glasses, faux relatable advice. One parody video showed a Meghan lookalike lighting a candle and whispering, "This one smells like resilience and imported lavender." Another gave a fake tutorial on how to fake authenticity for Netflix producers. It was parody gold, and it stuck. And while the US had their fun, the UK took it to another level. American satire is cheeky. British satire? Oh, it's savage. They didn't see Meghan and Harry as former royals finding freedom. No, they saw them as traitors. And the British comedy world? They pounced. The most brutal came from Spitting Image, the legendary puppet satire show. Their Meghan puppet, a frozen grin, eyes sparkling with PR calculation. Their Harry puppet, a clueless man-child with Whole Foods energy. In one sketch, Harry whined about needing a job while Meghan schemed their next fake humanitarian campaign disguised as a wellness brand. Another showed Harry too helpless to grab the TV remote without a butler while Meghan pitched eco-friendly kale smoothies that made everyone gag. It was exaggerated, yes, but it was believable. Too believable, because behind the latex and parody was a truth people couldn't unsee. Meghan's talk of struggle and pain didn't quite match the Montecito lifestyle. You can't cry about being silenced while cashing Spotify checks. You can't beg for space while fighting for every spotlight. The contradictions were too glaring, and the comedians knew it. And just when you thought it couldn't get darker, Jimmy Carr stepped in. You know Jimmy, the king of crossing lines no one else would dare. He dropped a one-liner about Meghan and Harry's royal exit that was so dark, the room went dead silent. Then, explosion. Half the crowd gasped, half roared. Tasteless? Genius? Depends who you ask. But viral? Oh, absolutely. And Meghan? She wasn't trending because of a new project or a humanitarian cause. She was trending because she had officially become a punchline. Again. If the comedians and late-night hosts cracked Meghan's image, then South Park straight up detonated it. Their infamous worldwide privacy tour episode didn't just poke fun, it blew Meghan and Harry's entire narrative to smithereens. Picture this, animated versions of Meghan and Harry storming through towns, waving giant signs that screamed, "We want privacy," while barging into talk shows, dropping books, and grabbing every microphone in sight. No subtlety, no filters, just in-your-face mockery of the contradiction everyone had already noticed but no one had wrapped up so perfectly before. The cartoon Harry strutted around promoting a memoir parodying his real book Spare, while animated Meghan was depicted as a drama-fueled spotlight addict, obsessed with staying center stage. And here's the cruel part. The jokes weren't even complicated. They didn't need to be. The situation was already that absurd. Rumors swirled that Meghan was absolutely furious about the episode. Devastated was the word whispered by insiders. But her team, of course, brushed it off, trying to play it cool. Too late. The damage was done. Because once South Park drags you, that's it. You're no longer a serious figure. You've officially crossed into comedy folklore. From that point on, Meghan wasn't just part of the news cycle. She was trapped in the joke cycle. Forever. And that's where the walls really caved in. See, Meghan and Harry had spent years controlling their narrative. Every photo was perfectly curated. Every interview rehearsed down to the word. Every documentary carefully scripted to paint them as victims and visionaries. But comedy? Comedy doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't care about your press release. Once comedians and the internet decide you're funny, accidentally funny, you're finished. The contradictions were just too loud. They asked for peace but dropped Spotify exclusives, claimed they wanted privacy but starred in Netflix docuseries, complained about attention yet chased every camera. It was hypocrisy wrapped in designer packaging, and comedians couldn't resist. Even when Meghan and Harry tried to pivot, rolling out new humanitarian projects, launching fresh ventures, the internet didn't buy it. Every new announcement was greeted with sarcasm. A new initiative? Oh, must be another docuseries. A new cause? Probably sponsored. Even their heartfelt, serious moments got memified and ridiculed. They weren't viewed as activists or public figures anymore. They were entertainment, the kind you laughed at, not with. And perhaps the most damning part of all? Their silence. Meghan and Harry didn't really fight back. No fiery interviews, no bold counter-narratives, no sharp responses to reclaim their story. And in that vacuum, the jokes grew louder. Because if you don't own your story, someone else will, and that someone else turned out to be millions of meme accounts with zero chill. For a while, Meghan and Harry were everywhere. You couldn't scroll without seeing a new parody or savage punchline. But eventually, like it always does, the internet moved on. The memes slowed down, the hashtags faded, but by then, it was too late. Because here's the kicker. Meghan and Harry didn't reset back to their royal rebels image. Their reputations had been permanently shifted. They weren't misunderstood anymore. They weren't seen as brave truth-tellers breaking free of the monarchy. They were the couple who became a global punchline and couldn't find a way out. And maybe that's the saddest twist of all. Behind the polished documentaries, the bestsellers, and the glossy photo spreads, they're still just two people who probably never imagined this version of their future. But fame is ruthless. Once the cracks show, the public doesn't glue them back together. They widen them, joke by joke, meme by meme, until the whole image collapses. Trevor Noah may have fired the first shot. But what followed? It wasn't just a roast, it was a cultural reckoning. By the end, Meghan and Harry's fairy tale wasn't just over, it had been rewritten as a never-ending comedy sketch, replayed on loop across the world. And here's the brutal truth. They weren't the stars of their own story anymore, they were the punchline.